Hey, let me ask you a question. Do you hate odd time signatures? Okay, let me ask you this. Do you hate odd time signatures because you can't play odd time signatures? No shade, don't feel bad. I'm here to help. Hello friends and neighbors, welcome back to the Brownstone. My name is Rich Brown. Thank you for joining me once again. Today we're talking about odd time signatures. Now here's the thing with me and odd time signatures. I do not like to think of them as odd. I do not call them odd time signatures. That's just the name that they've been given, and because that's the name that you're used to, I'll probably use that for the purpose of this video. But I don't think of them in that way at all, because I think we should all be able to feel these different rhythms as comfortably as we feel 4/4, 4 beats in a bar. And I've figured out my own way to do that. I'm going to show that to you today. Anna 1 is here to help me today with some different odd time signatures. Well, today we're going to focus on 7, but the ideas that I'm talking about today can be applied to any odd time signature. And Anna 1 is here to first demonstrate why it is so difficult to play using these rhythms. Check this out.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Nobody wants to count. Nobody wants to do all that. That is 7/4 at 180 BPM, which is essentially 7/8 at, half that, 90 BPM. But the thing about it is, when you have to count, especially that fast, it's very hard to create something that is musical. It immediately puts you in a box, and then you have to stay in that box, which is no fun, and it doesn't allow you to stretch out at all. So what I've done is I've figured out a few ways to break that down and then make it a little more comfortable for me and hopefully for you to play. First thing I want to do is get rid of the idea of having to count through any odd time signature. As soon as I find myself having to count through the music, I can't do anything else except count. I can't play, I can't stretch out, I can't do anything. So the last thing I want to do on any odd time signature is count. It's the last thing. What I do want to do is create a rhythm that I can sort of groove along with. And there are very common rhythms. There are different ways that you can break this down. Groups of 2s and 3s, which is essentially what we'll be doing. But also feeling those groups in a way that just makes things a little bit more comfortable. So if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 3, then what I can do is, if I break that down into groups of 2s and 3s, let's say I take 2 groups of 2 and a group of 3. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Right? So that becomes my rhythm. Now, the way that I got that rhythm can be a little bit complicated for the uninitiated, but there's a simpler way to look at it. Anytime you're faced with an odd time, I think I've talked about this in a previous video, but anytime you're faced with an odd time, what you can do is divide that number in half. So in the case of 7, that is going to be, when you divide 7 in half, you get 3.5. So if I have this 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then I can break it down into groups of 2, and then that last group of 3 is going to be my and a half. Sounds weird, but watch what I do here. So this is 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'll break that down into groups of 2. 1, 2. And then I have 3 notes left over at the end. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So to get the 3.5, 1, 2, 3.5. 1, 2, 3.5. 1, 2, 3.5. 1, 2, 3.5. Those last 3 beats, I can just say 3.5. Or you can count it in whatever way that you want, but you know you have those last 3 beats as a sort of remainder after your groups of 2. Doesn't matter whether it's in 7 or 13 or 21, you can break them down into groups of 2, and then you'd have that remainder at the end. So now if I have that rhythm, this is what happens with it. 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3.5. 1, 2, 3.5. 1, 2, 3.5. 1, 2, 3.5. Right? What I'll do now is I'll add the metronome. So here you can hear the groove. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now when I use the old divided in half method with my 3.5, what I get is this. 1, 2, 3.5. 1, 2, 3.5. One, 2, 3.5. And then if I want to practice this groove, I can use that as kind of a clave, right? One, 2, 3.5. You can even play 3.5. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.5, and 1. Now I have those 3 beats at the end, right? 1, 2, 3.5. So I can even divide those 3 beats in half. 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So then I have this new rhythm. 1, 2, still 3.5. 1, 3.5. So anytime you're faced with any sort of odd time signature, what you can do is break it down into groups of 2s, and then on that last 3 beat remainder in your time signature, you've got 3.5, or whatever it may be, 7.5. But on the downbeat of that group of 3, you've got the first snap. And on the word half, you've got the second snap. Let me try this again. This time let me try it on, let's say 11. 11, 4. Let's try this.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
That's ridiculous. Nobody wants to count to 11. Come on, seriously. But I know that 11 is going to be 5.5. Watch this. Right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. 1. So if I do want to count, then I can just count my groups of 2. 2, 3, 4, 5.5. 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. So hopefully that's making sense. But, as I'm demonstrating this, I'm playing very straight. I am marking my groups of 2 and that last group of 3 at the end. But because I'm playing these longer notes, these longer spaces, it allows me to use that space in a different way that I wouldn't be able to do if I were counting every single beat of the bar, right? So now that I've got this longer sort of groove happening and more space happening between the notes, I can play around a little bit more. So even if I do keep counting, watch this. We're able to naturally feel 4 beats in a bar. So I can think of that first 4 beats as a bar, my first 4 long beats, right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
That's so ridiculous. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now break it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, half, 1. So those first 4 beats, I can just groove because we all know how to play in 4/4, and then you just have like that remainder at the end, that 5.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. First, I'll mark it out, make sure I'm comfortable. Now, I can stretch out a little bit more when I think about just playing that first 4 beats as a bar of 4, because we can all play in 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. So you can hear how I'm starting to stretch out on the groove a little bit more. But really what I'm thinking is a bar of 4, because everyone can play in 4. So I think of that bar in 4, you can feel those 4 beats go by. And then I just remember I have this remainder at the end. Once I get to the end of that 4, then it's 5.5 and I'm back to the top. 3, 4, 5.5. So I can even think about that as I'm speaking with you, right? 1. So does that make sense? This is a very cool way to practice. And this time I'm taking a very difficult sort of rhythmic cycle of 11 beats. Nobody really plays in 11 anymore, do they? Maybe they do. So you can see how playing in this way allows me to free myself of this odd time signature and not have to think so much about playing this.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
The more I can get away from those numbers, the easier it'll be for us to make music and not think about those numbers at all. Now you can just be yourself and play all the things that you would normally play if you were playing in 4/4, because now you are playing in 4/4 with a little bit of an added phrase at the end. Makes things a lot easier and a lot more comfortable. There are levels to this, my friends and neighbors, but for now, I'm gonna leave it there. Let me know if you want me to talk more about this, because odd time signatures, they're a subject that we should all be comfortable with. Even if we're not playing them regularly, we should be comfortable playing in 7 and 5 and 11 and 13, or whatever the challenge may be. You don't want a piece of music handed to you and then you just be like, I don't think I can do that. No, you want to step into any situation with confidence and know that you will handle whatever rhythmic cycle gets thrown at you. And this is a great way to help you with that. So if you want me to continue with this topic, let me know in the comments and I will do so. And if there are other topics that you want me to discuss that you have not seen on this channel yet, let me know about those as well. I'm here to help. Friends and neighbors, I'm going to leave it there for now. Listen, if you like this video, please do me a huge favor and click like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and donate to the channel if you can, if you are in a position to do so. There are a number of ways that will allow you to do that. I will leave a link in the description box that will allow you to donate whatever amount you see fit. There is also an option to join the channel for $5 a month, which is fantastic. And you can even click that little heart underneath this video and donate like a couple of bucks just for this one lesson. How's that for a deal? Huh? Please do like, subscribe, comment, donate, hit that notification bell to let you know when the next video is coming out. And thank you very much for visiting me in the brownstone. My name is Rich Brown, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.